Hey there, welcome back to Poli Sci. There are lots of people out there selling cures to what ails you. Some of them do absolutely nothing. Some of them are actively dangerous. The thing we're talking about today is doubt. How does one sell you doubt? It's not like there's a door-to-door doubt salesman knocking saying, hey, would you like to buy a cup or a gallon? It's not like NFTs or magic beans or NFTs of magic beans. This is a more complex topic. It's pretty nebulous, like affiliate marketing or fractional reserve banking. Neither of which I really understand, but I do believe that together we can suss out how somebody sells you doubt. I will be focusing on RFK Jr., primarily because he is the king of this crowd. He is sowing the seeds of distrust in systems that save lives, especially the lives of those in poverty or in healthcare deserts. And for the record, I don't hate the dude. I have a big problem with his stance and a lot of the things that he says, but even if you are RFK ride or die, I hope that you'll stick around to the end. What I talk about today is researched, factual, and is critical to understanding his intentions and motivations. Hey, if you dig where this is going, please remember to like and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds for you to do, but it really does make a world of difference for me and my channel. So, I'll make you a deal. I'll keep dancing like a good little monkey if you remember to tip. And now, on to the show. Quick disclaimer, I am a science communicator, not a lawyer or a financier. So I'm not claiming to be an expert on the intricacies and nuances of the super mega grift. However, I do understand the ways that RFK seeds doubt and distrust among his followers. He's very good at it, which makes sense. I mean, the dude has gone pro in the grift. But Paul, if you're not a legal financier extraordinaire, why are you talking about this? Because this dude is actively harming public health, both directly and indirectly, and I have a moral obligation to call it out. However, I will not get into offshore banking, how royalties are taxed, or the difference between a 501c3 and a 501c7, because that's not my wheelhouse. All right, let's get into the money, starting with the book. RFK has written a lot of books, at least 15, probably somewhere near 20. I didn't actually count, but I think we can safely call the dude an author. Then in 2021, he saw great success with his book, The Real Anthony Fauci: This title goes on way too long. I'm not devoting any more time to it. He saw the fear that COVID created and leaned into it. Why? Maybe he felt he had a civic duty to spread the good word of evil Anthony. More likely, he saw the opportunity to make some money. Yes, I will admit that there are multiple possible motives, but I think it's most likely that he saw the way the wind was blowing, leaned into it, and got his payday. And we'll get to his nonprofit, the Children's Health Defense, in a minute, but I do want to point out that he funneled a lot of royalties from the real Anthony Fauci to that nonprofit, which seems like a great way to muddy the paper trail. I'm just saying. And now, as of early 2025, he has lined up multiple book deals, giving him over $4 million in advances. He is making over 550,000 federal minimum wage hours worth of money as a down payment on books, and that is before royalties. Now, we've only talked about his book sales, but try to tell me that he's not going to use his position as head of the HHS to push his ideas, which will yield selling more books. Bare minimum, the temptation is there, and that makes his position very suspect. All it takes is a little bump, a little push. If I just keep pushing this anti-vaccine talk, I'll sell way more books and get power. Maybe I just drop a little comment here and there to keep the ball rolling. All right, let's talk about his nonprofit, the Children's Health Defense, or CHD, which, just based off the name, sounds like a good thing. Nope. It's Anti-Vax Corporate Edition. In 2016, he made $0 from CHD. Makes sense, you're just getting off the ground, you're gonna forego a paycheck because you have other sources of income. Great. 2017, he made $130,000. Seems like a reasonable income. But wait, that salary went buck wild. 2021 and 2022, he maxed out over $500,000 a year. Now at that level of industry, $500,000 a year may not seem like that much, but it's important to note that this is A, a nonprofit, and B, a side hustle. Now, he stepped down, stopped receiving a salary when he got his government appointment. But there is not a single chance that he's not keeping up those relations and pushing for the success of this organization. That's his baby. He's gonna push for the success of his baby. And P.S., that's what lobbying is. And people can easily use his connections with CHD to sway his decisions. Hey, we'll donate to CHD if you help us out. That's lobbying. That's what it is. In 2022, CHD received about $1 million in royalties, most likely coming from the success of RFK's book, The Real Anthony Fauci, super long title. So let's think about this and break it down. If RFK sells more books, CHD gets more attention. If they get more attention, then they spread their message. If they spread their message, they funnel a lot more people into the pseudoscience pipeline, which causes, you guessed it, RFK to sell more books. So, what's an RFK to do? Well, watch the way the tides are turning. Get on the president's good side. Get yourself a really nice job in government healthcare administration, which will inflate your popularity even more. You'll sell more books, CHD will get more exposure, and the cycle continues. All the while, making bank! This is all part of the grift. Welcome to the anti-vax, anti-science web. Next, let's talk about speaking engagements. He gets paid for speaking at conferences. He even made $200,000 on one weekend speaking at 2 different conferences. People pay for his endorsements as well. I could not pass up this section without talking about this weird toy, Box Ballin'. He endorsed this thing. All right, pay attention. Here we have shirt number 1. There's not a drop of sweat on it. It's a nice, consistent navy blue. Next frame, they've gone grayscale. You can tell he's super sweaty now. What? How did that happen?
This is Box Ball.
And then we have an entirely new shirt. Note the chest pocket and the emblem. And this one is covered in sweat. I'm beginning to think he didn't get that good of a workout.
Well, the ideal stocking stuffer, when I'm on the road, I try to use it as often as I can because it keeps up my hand-eye coordination and it gives me a workout.
He got paid $100,000. He took his endorsement off of his social media and gave back $50,000. So, you know, came out ahead, I guess. Now, selling books, speaking engagements, those are both pretty obvious, generally above board, legally at least. I do have a little bit of a problem with his using his platform to sell his ideas that are in his books, but you know what? Fine. Let's get into something a little more nuanced. Legal proceedings. RFK has a vested interest in vaccine-related legal cases. He's participated in multiple legal battles against medical companies specifically for vaccine injury-related cases. He even helped persuade multiple influential lawyers to take up cases against Merck for their HPV vaccine. And by the way, they keep losing because the evidence in their cases is weak. On one of the HPV cases, he worked with the law firm Weisner-Baum. He has stepped down from that case, but if they win, he gets a 10% contingency fee. This freaking guy, he gets himself a high-level government position, and he's poised to receive a payout if a lawsuit directly related to his government position is successful. Yep, no bias is spotted here. Conflict of interest? Not a chance. I bet that this dude will behave honorably. Overall, this dude is making bank. He may say he's fighting the good fight. You may think he's fighting the good fight. But the paper trail paints a picture of sharply increasing finances directly correlated to his anti-vax, anti-science campaigns. I mean, there is a reason that he pushed to be the HHS secretary. Look, I'm not saying RFK doesn't believe the stuff that he says, although he sure changes his tune a lot for someone with such strong convictions. Check out his post on Fox News about measles. What I am saying is that we can't trust his stated positions because he has such strong financial incentives to push the HHS in a particular direction regardless of the evidence. It's really simple. Follow the money. RFK has done a good job of diversifying his income streams, so it makes it a little bit harder for the average person to keep track of whether his finances are above board. I've said it before, I'll keep on saying it until the day I die. You cannot put all of your trust in a single person, especially when money's involved. But you can put your trust in systems and processes that are designed to weed out bad actors and bad data. But science has made all these big mistakes, and it changes all the time, and look at all these bad research papers that made it through and got published. Yeah, dude, the fact that you know about these mistakes, these changes, these bad research papers means that the system is working. If it wasn't working, you probably wouldn't know about these mistakes. And our understanding of the human body is constantly growing, which means our position and recommendations should change. But science is dogmatic. If science is dogmatic, why is it always changing? Big Pharma just wants to keep you sick so they can keep getting paid. Alright, partially valid. RFK is doing kind of the same thing, but let's put that to the side for the moment. I've got two things. One, that's capitalism, the system that I assume most of RFK's proponents adore and support. Two, and what I think is more important, get mad about the known injustices. Get mad about the cost of insulin being unchecked. Get mad about EpiPens being unaffordable for people who need them. Get angry about these things that we know that are happening before you get mad about, I don't know, secret treatments that may or may not exist. Look, I'm not saying RFK is always wrong. There are actually a few points of his that I agree with. I'm not saying that he's an evil guy. What I am saying is that you have got to stay really skeptical, especially when there are such blatant conflicts of interest. The next, and hopefully last video in this series, will cover some of the tactics and techniques that RFK and other grifters use to make it seem like they're making good points without actually saying anything at all. When that's done, you can find that video right here. See ya. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of Poli Sci, and remember, question everything, starting with your own belief. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you hated the video, do the same thing. If you met RFK in a supermarket and gave him butter to use as foot lube, you owe me all three. That was a bad day to have eyes.